like this.
This is one thing.
It's a very low vibrational conversation.
The maturity level is low.
Not a low vibration.
Vibrational conversations. But welcome to this high vibrational podcast. This space, high vibrational space. Welcome to Live to Lifestyle. I am Orlando Roye, aka Orlando, aka the Big Dick Bad Bitch. Sitting right across from me is another Big Dick Bad Bitch. Don't know the dick size, but I know the dick energy.
You're so inappropriate.
What up, Brooklyn Lu, aka well known. I can't even. It's a lot of pressure, man.
That's the room for the big dick bad.
You know what I'm saying? Average savage from Brooklyn. You know what I'm saying? Son, Brooklyn Lu, aka well known tone. Don't get it twisted.
Today, we have some amazing people. Personally, they're really good friends of mine. Both of them are actually friends of mine. We have Cory Scott and Mila Mapp, our healers of the podcast. Welcome, and please introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Mila. I'm a sexologist and tantra practitioner and one half of the podcast Good Moms, Bad Choices.
Cool. I am Cory L. Scott. Don't ever introduce me without giving me my L.
My fault, player, Cory Scott.
Cory L. Scott. I am a former pastor, author, educator, community activist, and social engineer.
Yeah,
That's dope.
Nice.
I think we just had a little conversation outside, which really struck a chord in a really good way. Just some of the things he was dropping, some knowledge. I was like, can I pick this up? This is heavy. This is heavy. Mm-hmm. I like to start. I mean, what we're doing with our events, our collaborative events, our individual events, really centers around healing. And I think I know a big part of the healing, huge part of the healing, probably the basis of the healing has to do with spirituality and the negative impact colonialism and white supremacy has had on us as a people. And I think that's right down your lane, brother.
Yeah, like 18-wheeler right there.
There you go.
I think that there's we probably talked about this when I was on Horrible. I'm sure we talked about it on Hard or Soft. There's a book by Kelly Brown Douglas. She is my Dr. Douglas.
Hey.
She's my intellectual crush in my head. She wrote a book called Sexuality in the Black Church, A Womanist Perspective. And the title might very well cue people off because the Black church. But Kelly Brown Douglas goes to work on laying the foundation for how Black and brown folk have come to understand their sense of self and sexuality historically in a way that is so illuminating that there is not a course that I've taught on the university level, corporate level, or whatever that is not grounded in the work that she does. And I encourage people, if you are Black and you experience human sexuality, it's a book that you should read. And I say that because she does a lot of work in helping us understand how most, if not all of the ideas that we have in our bodies cannot be separated from this idea of Christianity and white supremacy. And how those things affect every layer underneath. About even if you are not Christian, if you are not religious, if you are not spiritual, you live in a world that is shaped by white supremacy and Christianity. And so a lot of the trauma that people experience and don't even recognize as trauma in their lives, in their sexuality, in their body, come from the Bible, from Christianity, from white supremacy. So she gives you a good way to walk through that and understand that, so you can begin to peel off those layers and live freely, even with some of those trappings being things that we cannot escape every day.
Yeah, it's insane how it just seeps into daily life, into daily interactions, into your relationships, into just everything, and it's this amorphous thing. It's just there. It's ever
I mean, we
present.
sneeze and somebody says, bless you,
There you go.
right? It's everywhere. It's in everything.
It's interesting that you said that. I'm happy that we started there because for me, I'm black. I grew up in LA.
If you can't tell by the voice, I'm black.
Shit, you'd be surprised. Bitches get real irritated when me and Erica say nigga just on audio, not realizing we're black and baby daddy and shit. I'm like, bitch. But I didn't grow up religious. My dad told me very young, like, Jesus is some white man that a white man made up to control everything, and everyone believed it. And even like I got into church in like 8th grade, my parents went out of town, and I called them like, I want to get baptized, and like I don't think that's a good idea. So I didn't come up in like a black church space, but I realized when I went to college, I went to a Catholic school growing up. Not that we were religious or anything. That was this private school in the area, and because my dad, I always knew it was kind of a crock of shit. And just being black in general, it being used as a excuse for slavery was just weird to me that so many black people gravitated to Christianity. But when I moved to college, I went to a Buddhist meeting with my homegirl, and we chanted Nam-myoho Renge Kyo in a room towards they have the Gohanzen. And I was really surprised of the feelings that came up for me, that it felt bad. From someone who really did not come from a religious background. I was like, why do I feel bad? But I went to Catholic schools, and I heard to worshiping anything outside of God is this, it's pagan, it's this. And I was like, damn, bitch, you're not even religious and you're feeling guilt. And then to take it a step further, my grandma asked me one time if I believed in Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior, which is such an intense question that they ask you every church session, and then everyone looks at you because you feel like you have to raise your fucking hand.
You're the one.
You're like,
the pressure.
So I, and even I lied that day and said, this is my grandma.
Yes, he is.
It's coercive and lacks the elements of consent.
Yep.
And there's guilt
that
and
y'all
shame.
know way more about than 90% of Christianity, right? Like the idea that you have to be guilted into it. A couple months ago, Carlton Pearson died, and I don't know if people know who Carlton Pearson is.
We're about to find out.
During the 90s, there was not a preacher who was more popular around the world than Carlton Pearson, other than old ass white men. But Carlton Pearson had this huge church revival that he started in Oklahoma. And so all the big name preachers in Black America, and even white Protestant or white Pentecostal preachers, got their shine at Carlton Pearson's conference. But along his journey, he got to a point where he came to believe that, one, hell does not exist. And he adopted this radical ethos about love, God's love, crossing religious lines, and then this radical inclusion about queer folk. And all of Christianity kind of just threw him away or whatever. Mind you, he's straight.
I was going to ask you that.
He's straight. But he embraced gay folk, embraced, Unitarianism and other religions. And the Black church went hard at making sure we don't fuck with you, right? Just went really hard. And abandoned him. Folks like T.D. Jakes, Juanita Bynum, Miles Monroe, and the list can go on and on and on about all of these people who are making millions off ministry today, but got their start or their huge exposure at Azusa, right? He died, and they treated his funeral so terribly. And it was a revelatory moment for me about how much pain folks experience at the hands of religious folk and religious structures, because what his family experienced is usually just reserved for queer folk, and Black queer folk especially, that when you die, every fucking thing that you ever lived for, stood for, believed is disregarded and people do whatever they want. So he said specifically, I don't want all of these people who abandoned me and didn't fuck with me to be speaking at my funeral. I don't want a bunch of eulogies or whatever, but I just want, a few people. And he named Yvette Funder, who's really famous as well, storied in gospel music industry. I want her to give whatever words or eulogy. And they banned her from speaking at his funeral.
Even though it was his request.
At his explicit request on video. In his last months of life, he did a video and put them up, Facebook Live, and named the people. Her being one of the 3 names. They said specifically, she can't speak. Nobody can say the words inclusion at this funeral. Nobody with a progressive theology can speak or whatever. And she said at the memorial service they held for him that it's crazy that so many people's introductions to God is that you learn to be afraid before you ever learn of this idea of God being loving.
God-fearing.
I'm scared to go to hell.
So I'm going to
before
abide.
I even have any sense of God loving me or God caring for me or any of the things. And people don't understand how that warps your sense of self and humanity and how you engage with other people. Like everything about your sex life is wrapped up and tied up in purity culture and sex negative language. And what we were talking about earlier about how you look at your body and how we look at your body, especially, is so steeped in all of this shit that just makes it hard to get a good nut.
Oh, Lord.
To feel a hand on you, like all of those things. And people don't realize it until it's too late.
Or they never realize it at all.
At all.
Yeah, I the God-fearingness.
Yeah.
I think people don't realize that it removes the faith. If I'm fucking with a God or religion because I'm afraid that I'm not going to go to heaven, I'm not fucking with it because I have faith and I believe that I'm unconditionally loved by this omnipresent person or whatever spirit. Yeah. It's because I've been told that I have to do this or else I'm a bad person. And like for me, Tantra was intriguing for a lot of years. But I didn't really understand what it was, which I realized a lot of people don't. But the thing that I gravitated towards was that first of all, it's a practice. You could be in any religious background. So it's not like Christianity. If you worship or you go to something else and this pagan, then there's all these rules around who you worship. But Tantra was healing that was not excluding sex and sexuality. And for me, just in basic terms, as a human being, we like to fuck. It is within our DNA to procreate. Not only that, just even like the sexology part, like the clitoris is the only body part any body part that's solely made for pleasure. Now, if God is this person or this thing that created us, but wants us to deliberately exclude the parts of us that feel good, why the fuck would he give me a clit?
Listen, I don't understand how I'm supposed to be wrong for being gay. Have you ever had your prostate stimulated, sir? Because if God created that shit, we got to have a conference. Can you get your supervisor?
Yeah. Why would you do this, guys?
We got some design issues.
Can we get on
Yeah, we have some design flaws that we got to discuss because this feels a little bit too good.
Yeah, and it's really sad. I mean, like the amazing work, the insidious work that has been done on us, just especially on this side of the world. Yeah. We can't even get into what's going on in Africa right now in Ghana and shit. That is fucking insane. But like, it's just like, wow, they engineered it so that at every level we are ostracizing each other, shaming each other, guilting each other. Even I had this long conversation with my father, and it was really important for me to tell him this because he was Jehovah's Witness. I wasn't raised in it. My mom was like, fuck that shit. But, you know, I had to let him know, like, you know, I don't believe what you believe in the least bit. And I choose my son and my brother over you and this fucking cult you're part of every time, you know? And it didn't feel good saying that, you know, but like I meant it. You know, there's not a scenario in my existence where I look at my son or my brother as aberrations. You know what I'm saying? Of nature or some shit like that, which is essentially what these Bible thumping motherfuckers look at shit like, and it's frustrating. And now you just see the push towards that even more. What's what I'm looking for? Orthodox type shit. You know what I'm saying? It's just going towards that more and more. You see it in with book bannings. You see it in what churches protest against versus what they don't protest against, right? Like you know, drag queens reading books is evil, but putting out more guns isn't. You know what I'm saying? Like just simple shit that feels counterintuitive. So we're working against how we feel. What we feel is good.
We're working against God.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
God is the most natural thing. If you created us and you're God, and I'm going against my body and what I feel called, the pleasure that I innately feel called to, it literally is religion is constructing a space where you go against God. And our perception of what God is has been so fucked up that we are thinking we're doing some good and we are containing ourselves, or it's under the guise of discipline. And obviously there's discipline, there's discernment, but being a sexual being is at our core how we were created. And so to say that like that's anti-God is absolutely insane.
Yeah.
Remember, Kelly Brown Douglas pointed us to how Christianity and white supremacy are constructing all of these things. There's a report by the Human Rights Council. I think it's called Exporting Hate. And they detail how white evangelicals from the United States have targeted places like Uganda and Ghana for the last 10, 15, 20 years.
Missionaries.
The fucking
To
missionaries.
get this, what you're talking about, these anti-gay legislations passed, they have been zeroed in on these specific countries. And it's always interesting having conversations amongst black folk. And they're like, you know, because black, you know, homosexuality and all of this the white man that put this on us.
Is it?
And I'm a historian.
Oh baby,
There you go.
Right? I'm a
Baby.
historian, and I've done all of the work. I'm in the process of writing my second book, so it's made me even more studious about the presence of queer identified folk on the continent, right? And how we didn't have this sex negativity, number one, this body negativity, number two, or this queer ostracization and hatred prior to colonial forces arriving on the continent. But I'm not even going to argue about that. But you see, like, present day, how the shit that we have here, Christianity and white supremacy, have exported this level of hate to countries. And it's always interesting hearing folk from the diaspora talking about how, you know, the Europeans brought, and this is real white. And I'm like, you don't realize how this hatred that you're spewing is actually the import that is European and white. But it's just so, it's such a tangled web. And if I could, I just want to say this like out front so people understand my perspective. I like to disclaim so people can tune me out if you like to. I am black, I'm gay, I'm a pastor, I'm theologically educated, and half the shit you hear me say, you're likely not going to hear 90+% of other pastors say. Interesting thing about positioning me there is Jesus comes the same way. And 70, 80% of what Jesus says is what gets him fucked up. Because he says things that other folk around him had never said before. So I'm okay with all the religious folk who are going to listen to this and be like, well, he's saying this and that about God, and ain't nobody ever said that. Same accusation they leveled at Jesus. I'm comfortable with it. Yeah. I really don't think.
Okay, Jesus.
I really don't
Jesus
think.
L. Scott.
I really don't think that we should be using the Bible as it relates to our mores, our ideas, our standards about human sex and sexuality. Period. Present day. Oh. You should not. If you are using the Bible in any way as it relates to human sexuality, psychosocial development, it is tantamount to somebody cutting your arm off because you have an infection. It's outdated, it's ineffective, and it might very well get your ass thrown in jail.
And it's riddled with white supremacy.
It is.
It's riddled with white supremacy.
It really is. We don't use ancient means of storing food. Ain't nobody burying shit in the ground. We know we have running water, these nice overhead lights. None of the things they had, none of the things that they understood, right, do we use. But somehow we still using the Bible thousands upon thousands of years later, right, to shape these ideas around sex and sexuality from primitive people. Not to mention the terrible ass examples that the Bible gives us. Almost every time sex is brought up, is rape, is force, like it's non-consensual. Hello? Like, where was Mary's consent in getting pregnant with Jesus? Yeah. Nigga showed up in the middle of the night. Yeah. Just impregnated her in her sleep. That's called rape.
Breezed out the window.
That's what that is. And so we've glorified this story of God's non-consensual engagement with Mary to bring us Jesus.
Not Jesus was rooted in rape.
Some folk got a problem. Some folk got a problem with that, and we got to be able to talk honestly about what's there, and if what's there is worthy of our using it the way that we do. It's not. Be honest about what scholars think happened. That Mary was likely raped by a Roman soldier, which was a common occurrence in first century Palestine. And because of her betrothed, her fiance's status in community, I can't let them know this nigga raped my girl.
Not my girl. Yeah.
And that narrative does not even show up in the earliest tellings of Christianity. It comes later where we get this virgin birth narrative that's steeped in so much foolishness, right? That we can't be honest about that. And so the same way that we shame women today for rape, it started with Mary. Yeah. That she can't even be honest in what her experience is, for the shame is going to cause somebody around her.
Like my possession was tarnished.
And from the beginning, beginning, we got a whole lot of work to do in unpacking the trauma around sex and sexuality for human beings, period. And then you put black skin on top of that, and we got a whole lot of shit going on.
100%.
That's got to be so harsh, just sitting there after being raped by a Roman soldier talking about, my little miracle. Yeah. It's just a little miracle.
Yeah. Oh. And what's really crazy is seeing, like, you know, when we first started doing, like, when I first started getting involved in the sex positive aspect and stuff, and like my only point that I could think of was like, oh, they're pretty sex positive in Europe. And then as I thought about it, I was like, that's fucked up. It's fucked up that that part of the world spent so much time colonizing, brutalizing, doing all these things, and now they're like, oh, you know, I get to experience the sex positive thing. We're open about sex here. We're open about sex there. And it's just, it's just very frustrating. It's very frustrating going into spaces that are predominantly white, you know, and there is no connection to that.
I've heard Mila say this before, and I'll let you like explain it more about how white men have the comfort to explain and explore their sexuality, but black men don't.
I was just saying, we were on a podcast the other day and we were talking about our femininity and masculinity ratio between everyone in the room. It was a ridiculous conversation. But the white guy was like, you know, I don't know what the fucking topic was, but it was something. And we were all like, it's because you're white. And it's true. Like, white men play differently. They have like homoerotic like gestures. They slap each other's ass. And it's like, you got a big dick. Or, you know, like, I've seen it. I grew up with a bunch of white people. And it's interesting that they have the permission to play in ways. And for us, for black men, they're like, that's some gay shit.
Yeah.
I don't play like that. You know what I mean? And it's just like a very small, just a very small look at just the difference of how we perceive masculinity as black people. But back to your point about like Europe and like, you know, the women's tits are out, it's normal. It's less censored. It's just that when there has been so much trauma done to your body, you can't, it's hard to understand pleasure when you're living in a place where you are surviving. You're not thinking about pleasure. And even when I think about that, like in the sense of like slavery, and that people were still like sneaking and getting married, people were still like making love. I watched a documentary, and there was a story about a woman who was getting raped by her slave master, and she was so fucking over it. She had 2 kids. She went up into the attic for like a decade.
Yeah. I think it was 7 years or something.
Yeah, it was like
that.
7 years.
She lived in the attic. They thought she was running away.
She'd rather stay there.
They thought she was a runaway slave, and she lived in that attic for years.
Her kids were down there. She didn't communicate with them. No one really knew she was up there. They were feeding her secretly because she'd rather spend the years upstairs in hiding.
And y'all know what the crawl space in the attic is.
That's
they actually, in that documentary, I think they have a replica of the size of the space that she had to live in.
It's crawling space. Curled up space.
And I think she later was freed, and she wrote about it.
Yep.
And just to think about that concept, and to think about that's just one woman's story who had the education to write about it after, so we could hear about it. But just in the bigger, you know, idea of our bodies, the trauma that lives in us, that we pass on to our kids, our perception of pleasure and of sexuality, when it's rooted in rape and brutal, crazy, like heinous acts to our bodies, and then us trying to be anti-religious, you know, just like reconnect our pleasure and our birthrights and our bodies to how we are existing right now. It's been so disconnected.
Can I break the fourth wall real quick? My phone is right here. Do you mind handing that to him for a second? Because I don't want to fuck up this quote. And it's interesting that you talked about how white men and black men are able to experience sexuality differently, and the power dynamic that exists there. Kelly Brown Douglas again. I have them saved because I'll be ready. She talks about Foucault's theory of power.
Okay.
And how everything that is playing out in sexual discourse is actually a discourse about power. And she says that white supremacy's aim to question or impugn a person's sexuality, human sexuality, not orientation, of another bolsters one's own claim to superiority, as it suggests another group's inferiority. And therefore, to malign a people's sexuality is to call into question their very humanity. Basically, that white folk have used sexual discourse as a tool for power. Right? Another author says that black sexuality has always been queer. It's always been other, under the guise of whiteness, right? That it's always less than. It's always negative. It's always dark. There's something about that black temptress that she just wants to seduce the white man. There's something about the black buck.
There's an allure. Yeah, it's a fetishism.
Right? To make us less than human is this exercise in a power dynamic, right? And so it would make sense that the person who's at the top of that pyramid is able to express and experience
and walk
their
however they want
sexuality in
a
whatever way they
space.
want.
Yes.
But I get to impugn yours because it imputes to me power.
It's the same thing as white people going into ancient pyramids and taking information and using it for themselves.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. If I tell you you only exist from your knees up, you're not going to be able to access your feet because I told you it didn't exist. If I demonize using feet for 400, 700 years and you're fucking stuck right here because you're not using your feet because some person in power told you you cannot utilize that, you're not going to get up and walk out the fucking room.
Right. And not just told you, but like beat it into you.
Right.
Cut feet off. If you
Make your life depend on you
Everything.
Change
believing.
your cellular makeup so that this exists in your kids and their kids, even if I didn't directly beat them. So it's this idea that even as in Tantra, where like it literally means weaving light and sound with form, the weaving. But if we heal everything but here, we're not really healing.
Yeah.
If we're ignoring these roots, I could be so fucked. I could be the number one bitch in the church. I could be the most intellectual. I could go to so many colleges. I could work out every day. I could be drinking fucking green juice. I could be vegan. But if I'm not healing my energetic body that is rooted in our this place where we exchange and like find community and intimacy, then I'm not able to heal myself 100% because I'm only using a portion of where and who I am. And sexuality is such a big part of who we are. And I'm really realizing it's such a big part of connection. And connection is such a big part of community and of love. And if I remove that part, it is going to be difficult for me to fully access love of my children, to fully access love of my lover, because just inherently cutting out parts of your pleasure, you will not be able to experience high levels of pleasure because you've cut it off in ways.
Yeah.
And then you project that onto your kids and then onto their kids. And I think it's interesting, like Black men, BIPOC men, because me being of indigenous, Black and indigenous background, I see a lot of similarities. Our perception and perspective of what masculinity is already so skewed. It's a caricature. Living in Mexico, like the machismo and shit. Then, coming up here and familiarizing myself with African American communities and Caribbean communities and just seeing like the same, there is this incredible love that won't pass physically because people aren't hugging, people aren't touching. So it's like this thing here and I see it, and I feel it around certain spaces. And it's just really, it's a mind fuck.
Yeah.
It's a mind fuck that you got dudes out here, just waxing poetics about like fucking like what are you talking about? Our masculinity is under attack. Like what is masculinity? Who's attacking it?
Yeah.
If this is masculinity, it should be destroyed. It should be stomped on and just fucking start clean because and to make it even broader, I feel men inherently are dangerous.
We are dangerous.
We are dangerous,
but
and
we just use that danger for the wrong things.
No, danger's danger. Like whether or not we are physically doing things, if we're not stopping it, we're dangerous. If we're not holding each other accountable, you know what I'm saying, it's dangerous.
Let's keep going.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't the cis hetero woman or the gay Black man that said it.
It was the straights.
I just wanted to state that.
No, 100%. No,
for the internet's record.
No, y'all, like we are dangerous, and we need to stop caping. Like, well, not all men. Like, really? At what point? Have you done the work? Have you sat with yourself and said, "Wow, have I ever, imposed my presence on somebody?
Yeah.
Have I ever quieted somebody? Have I ever just disregarded somebody?"
Yeah, I've had to tell somebody this recently that the reason why like men are dangerous, because and men might say like, oh, not all men, is that if you're in a room with 10 men, two of those men's
Men's is
two of those men are dangerous, right? One of those men are probably going to say something, and the other 7 probably won't say anything at all. And it's those 9 men that make shit very hard for the rest of us. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Another thing that I wanted to say, and I didn't want to forget it, was we were talking about during slavery, right? And people were still getting married and things like that, but also even still having sexual acts during that time. Like, you're going through this period where now your body is under control by someone else, and you're still sneaking and finding ways to access pleasure. And it, for me, because I couldn't really be Christian, I'm way too sexually active. I'm way too sexually explorative. I was like, this is just not gonna work for me. But me and Mila were watching the show, and I believe it was the same show. And we came to when we learned about, like, people not learned about, but it was more apparent that slaves were still getting married, jumping the broom, finding different ways to, like, go about marriage. But also, you're in slavery. How are you finding the time to be horny? Right? How are you finding the time to like access pleasure and have sex? And I realize with also what we're talking about right now, that pleasure and intercourse is so healing, that one of the ways that they were able to push through and keep going was by accessing their pleasure in some types of in different types of ways, even under this heinous act of slavery. And so it pushes just my opinion on why certain religions try to make the disconnect between healing and pleasure, or try to cut you away from your pleasure, is because of how healing that pleasure is and how it pushes you.
How powerful it is.
Powerful it is, yeah.
Like, for me, the thought of in a consensual moment, 2 humans, and let's stick just for that, for just we'll go with the binary, right? Because if you're anything but that during that time, it's insane. Right. You know what I'm saying? But you're a male who's been used to breed. Mm-hmm. You're a woman whose kids have been taken away. And then somehow, amidst all that bullshit, you manage to connect with each other. Mm-hmm. You know, like, you mad like that. That's fucking insane. You know what I'm saying? You get that moment of just human contact. Yeah. You're 20 minutes of humanity, if that. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And then back to the chattel slavery shit. And it's insane. It's absolutely insane. And that shit is in us. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we have to work constantly to fight that. Mm-hmm. You know? And and even in that, there were still queer folks. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Even in that, there were still queer folks through all that. Like, it's just, so I don't understand what this narrative about. And this narrative is largely uneducated motherfuckers. Mm-hmm. That's the funny part. You know what I'm saying? Just people like, what are you talking about? Like, please cite some references.
Source. Who told you that? Who told you that? Tell me who told you that.
It goes back to niggas not reading books. Yeah. And then stating shit as facts. And even, like, you don't... Even there's a book called Post-Traumatic Slave Syndrome that I don't even know if it goes deeply into the sexual parts of how we show up. But I was looking at something online, and I don't know what it was. It was like they were saying something about slavery, and I was reading the comments, and they're like, this is a reach. And I was like, no, nigga, it's not. Because I think systematically they've made it feel like some very far away thing that happened to us, when if we don't study our history, we won't understand how it shows up in us. And just as much as we talk about healing, and I think we associate healing with it having to be hard and difficult, and I think we forget that radical pleasure is a part of the healing. And reconnecting with our pleasure for ourselves and our partners, like that hashtag Black love, that's some real shit. Because if we can find each other and heal and withstand to love each other and connect in certain ways, it is revolutionary, because we have been prevented from doing that for so long. Even to the point where I always, it trips me out, even in a relationship that I'm super happy and healthy in, even in a place in my life where I'm like safe. You know, the last 2 years I had to tell myself, like, you're safe. And like being happy, but feeling distant from the happiness. Yeah. I was like, I'm so in love.
I was just joking last night with my partner. like, you know, it's not toxic, so it's not real. This just feels too fucking good. This can't be real.
It almost like I could see.
And you have to coach yourself into sometimes like
you're happy,
bitch. Be happy.
Why do you have attitude?
Like feel this.
Literally,
it's
Stop
crazy.
getting ready for it to end.
Yes,
because we see white people in happily ever afters. We see white people have good jobs and white people have nice houses and have these nice weddings or whatever. So it's like when you sit in and you're like, I'm happy, I'm healthy, my bills are paid. Something's wrong. Yeah.
It's coming. I don't know what it is.
I can't trust this nigga.
Yeah.
Especially
if
if you're attaching like guilt to pleasure, right? Because like, so for me doing the work around it was, I had to make myself safe. And the reason I say men are dangerous, because what is danger, right? I'm not saying we're all killing people, but you know, there's that gray area. that aside, that aside, there's the gray area of how we treat people. There's the mistrust, there's the lies. And then when you do the work and you're in a moment of pleasure and you realize, oh, I traumatized myself because I feel guilty that I'm having pleasure right now because I've associated my pleasure with someone else getting hurt. You know what I'm saying? So that kind of thing is also like I think a lot of men, it's a lot of humans, but again, speaking from my perspective, there's a lot of work that needs to be done around that, where it's just like, let's just talk. Let's talk.
Or the idea that you have to earn pleasure, that you have to earn the space to feel good, right?
Like it's not deserving, just deserving to.
No shade to earn your leisure, but this idea that as a human being, I have to earn the right to enjoy life, to rest. Like, and that's like, you have to earn the space for pleasure.
You're not inherently deserving of the top-notch pleasure in your life.
It's crazy. It's maddening that people operate that way. One of the things that I get a lot, because I've understood for a long time that I'm a healer. Period. Like wherever I show up. And so as a Black gay man existing in hookup culture, still healing people, right? That the sex that I engaged in was healing to motherfuckers in ways that they didn't understand, or that they were like, yo, what just happened? And me having to tell people like, it's okay. Like, it's okay for you to feel what you're feeling right now. And that you should go back into your life and expect this and reproduce this.
Okay, bragger.
In your sex.
Talk your shit. I like that.
Because a lot of the times, like, and it's worse, I think, with Black gay men, because we are reproducing onto each other the same shit, right? At least theoretically, if I was straight, like, you have something that you're gonna offer that's different, that might cause me to pause or that'll counter. But we passing back and forth the same shit, right? The same toxic masculinity, the same ideas of ownership, right? And possession of somebody else's body, and the jealousy and rage and anger because of uncertainty. Like, that's all we got. These two Black boys that talk about y'all want to fucking love each other. That's all we have. And so I had to make a choice to engage sex with other Black men differently. That when you leave this experience, it is going to be different than whoever else, right? And trapped in that is this idea that motherfuckers also have to earn love. And that you have to throttle your ability to express and give love. Now you got New York Times or Pew or whoever the fuck writing about an epidemic of loneliness for Black men.
Touch starved.
Right? You have not, the fact, if you watch kids, if you observe children who haven't been positively touched, right? There's a behavioral difference in them. And so many of those children grow up to be adult human beings who are living these touch-starved, love-starved lives. And it wreaks havoc on everything else that we do. And so, like, my friends have been like, bro, you be doing too much. Like, you let bottoms come to your house and shower and prep at your house. Like, this is just supposed to be a hit and quit. And I'm like, sir, let's just talk about this.
Yeah.
You want the best possible pleasurable experience you want, right? That's what you want when you have sex. So why wouldn't I make you comfortable? Why wouldn't I offer you the space that, hey, right, since I know there's this bottom anxiety about being prepared, why wouldn't I offer you the space to say, hey, I don't want you to have that anxiety. So if you need to go do a safety check, go ahead. If you need to use the shower, go ahead. Here are the things that you can use. Go ahead. So that I could get the experience that I want.
Well, offering a safe haven is like, why would I feel comfortable with someone coming in my body, but not coming to use my shower?
Hello?
Yeah. And it's crazy because you're also broadening your spectrum of pleasure. It's like, look, it's not just me.
Yeah.
It's not just my nut. This is like two humans right here occupying the same space. We should all feel extra comfortable, extra safe.
I've learned so much from you all. Like a lot of my engagement into play spaces and sexual ethics, because I study it now and teach it, but was because I had friends who were into kinks and shit like that. And so I had to learn about consent conversations. And so a couple of my friends have my name saved in their phone as Cory Consent is Sexy Scott, right? Because we would have these conversations during the lockdown. We were on Clubhouse and it'd be hundreds of people in the room and we'd be having conversations about sex and consent. And I tell people, like, no means no and silence means no. Only yes means yes. Like, consent is sexy, right? And so they saved me in their phone that way. But learning about aftercare, right? Learning about being present in the moment to have check-ins. And the way that shit revolutionized my sex life, just asking somebody, hey, what would make you feel good right now?
Yeah.
Is this okay? Should we, hold on, let's slow down. I noticed your body responding in a particular way. Are you good?
Breathe.
Yeah.
All of those things. And it's deepened relationships with people that I've engaged sexually and that have come back and been like, yo, I know we was just supposed to be fucking, but there's something about you and I wanted to talk with you. And then the work of engaging their lives and the things that are going on that are all tied up in everything that you got bounded and twisted up in you, right? And having to do the work of helping people journey toward healing and wholeness, even when it was just supposed to be a fuck session. And I think that we've lost the appreciation for our humanity. And how powerful, like, this is.
Yeah. Big time.
Right?
Yeah.
Big time.
That the level of connection that just happens when you hold someone's hand, let alone when we fucking and our hearts start beating the same way. Our breathing starts to sync up, right? Our intuition links. And we miss all of that. Because of all of these things that have, like, trapped us and distracted us before we could even get to the bedroom. And now you there with all this fucking baggage and women experiencing, like, what is it? The numbers are like 60+% have never experienced an orgasm.
It ends up being a higher form of masturbation for some people. It's like, I could just,
Yes, you're welcome. I think we have even removed the intimacy in platonic exchanges. And it's scary. And especially as Black people, like it means something if I hold your hand.
Yeah.
I want to go home with you. Like, that doesn't mean that. I was in the bar last night with Orlando and his 5 friends. And I like always talk about Mila moaning. And I'm like telling them to like,
I kept hearing that.
and they were like, no, I'm going to growl. I was like, whatever, nigga. But I went to another bar after that. And my Tantra sister was here. We embraced for a good amount of time because this is the nature of what we do, and we understand the connection that the conversations our souls need to have when I can't be like, I'm overwhelmed. I've been to 5 cities. I have a lot of energy exchange, and she's just holding me, and we're breathing and moaning together in the bar. And the guy to our right was like looking at us, and I was like, I just went over to him and I put my hand on his chest and I looked in his eyes.
Baby, he could have started crying.
I know. He was like, he kept looking at me. I was like, look at me. And I was like, just take a deep breath. And he was like, I was like, look at me. And he's like, I gotta go. I was like, just do it one more time. I'm super weird like that. But I agree that there will always be those experiences, those interactions, that might have changed his whole trajectory of next week. It's so fucking basic. It is basic shit. Even like before I went to school and I realized like the power of the sexual energy being present, the intimacy that is present is healing. It's radical, but it's been so restrained to just sex. It's been so like minimized to just sex. And I realized like the intimacy is the game changer. It's literally like, let's indulge in pleasure, and it could be platonic, but it's still like so present. The connection is so present. But as Black people, as brown people, as just people, we're just like, that's weird.
Yeah.
We were talking about, Orlando shared that when we first met, I think I mentioned on the pod that I was in therapy for sex addiction.
Which is one of my greatest titles for him, because he's a gay pastor in therapy for sex addiction. And it's like, as soon as you say that, everybody's like, bring him on the podcast. It's a hit.
Yeah. I had a therapist for about 10 years for sexually compulsive behavior. And I learned a great deal about what animates, right? What's happening internally, subconsciously, consciously, that's driving you towards sex, right? And basically, the field has narrowed the ideas to this idea that people who deal with sexually compulsive behavior or sex addiction are dealing with either love addiction or love avoidance, right? And it's based in your family of origin story, right? That during this period of your development, you were looking for love. You should have received love from the people around you, right? Your family, teachers, community, etc. And you didn't get it. And so it creates this impulse towards wanting to get this thing that you haven't, love addiction. And so for the rest of your life, until you address it, you are entering into these engagements to satiate your desire, your need to feel loved. And the thing that chemically comes closest to the feeling of love is sex. Releases the same chemical endorphins in your body, the same chemical releases, right? But it's tantamount to a sugar high, right?
It's temporary.
Yeah, you get it,
and
it drops. And so you have to get it again.
And then you end up feeling kind of empty after, because it's not
because
really,
it's not as feeling, right?
Drugs.
The sugar high is not as feeling as if you got a nutritious meal, right? And so people engage in sex to satiate this love addiction. Or the converse of that is love avoidance. We're during that period of your life where you were supposed to be forming these ideas about love and what you're worthy of and should receive. You didn't get those things, and the people or some peoples were harmful to you. And so subconsciously, you build up a resistance to loving relationships, because those were the people who were supposed to love me and hurt me. And so sex is employed to stave off love. Because nobody wants a hoe, right? Nobody's going to fall in love with that. I could fuck you, and you. And none of y'all gonna want me because y'all all know I'm
fuck the
fucking
homie.
right.
Community dick.
So you use love, right? You use sex to avoid forming loving relationships. And I joked with y'all earlier that if you're a special, unique case like me, you have this fucked up twist of love addiction and love avoidance.
You usually have both.
That you want to be loved. But as soon as that alarm goes up, bitch, is this love? No, you got to go. And so you sabotage the loving relationships that you're in with sex. And then you don't got the relationship, and now you want the relationship again because you want to be loved. And you're in a cycle.
And now you don't want me back, so I'm just gonna hoe out.
And so I went to therapy because my partner at the time was like, yo, you cheated. And we can get over that, but you're not gonna keep doing the same shit. Like, you're gonna go to therapy and you're gonna learn some shit, or we can't do this. And I went and I started learning about what my triggers were. And for me, one of my big triggers is being ignored. Or feeling ignored. Feeling insignificant.
And you have to say feeling ignored because
that's why
actually
I said
being ignored and the feeling ignored
are different. That's why I said feeling,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because I feel it does not mean that it is real or it's happening.
Yeah.
But feeling that way would trigger something, and the big dick bad bitch can't be ignored.
I'm gonna find somebody. I know somebody else's number, nigga.
And so I'm not. They're not gonna ignore this, right? And so it gives me that power back, and so I engage in it, and ain't realized or feeling diminished, right, or less than. And so you don't realize how the conversation you had at work with your boss, and they didn't fully give you credit for the shit that you did, has sent you into this spiral, and now you don't know why you want. I'm just horny.
Let me go through my phone.
I want to, and that's the beginning of the ritual.
Oh, I know.
Right? You start the
empty scrolling.
You start the ritual,
and then you start going. You're like, I don't even have anybody I want to fuck, but I'm going to find somebody because this is what I'm trying to.
Or another part of the ritual is the you smoke, right? Let me call the motherfucker I know I can smoke with, because then we going to get it in. And it took me being able to, one, identify my triggers. And if I miss the identification of the trigger, hopefully I pick up on, my boy, are you in the middle of your ritual leading up to the compulsive? Oh, wait, you've been on Twitter porn for a couple of hours today looking for what happened. What did I miss? And then I could go back and track through what's going on. Why am I feeling? What am I feeling? Right? So you can address those things and have a healthy relationship with sex.
As opposed to just praying it away.
Now listen.
Get that therapy in, you get that therapy in and use both.
And that's the other thing that I'm saying. They didn't have therapists in the Bible.
No.
Right.
And some of y'all need a therapist.
Yeah. Some?
Your pastor does not have, in most cases, shout out to my friends who are degreed as psychiatrists, psychologists, etc., and our pastors. But your pastor, 9 times out of 10, ain't taking no counseling psychology courses. He's not equipped to deal with the shit that you got going on because he read the Bible. Just not. And that's the way, the same way we talk about how we call the police for too much shit. What the fuck you calling the police for a noise violation for?
Yeah.
They're not going, could they preemptively stop the noise? Like, we're calling on pastors, spiritual leaders, whatever, we're requiring too much. You're not equipped to deal with my sexuality and my spirituality and my psychology and my politics. You just not.
And all these other people.
Right.
Right.
We're gonna switch gears because you're giving away way too much sauce for free. We're gonna figure out how we're gonna do a subscription page for some of these conversations. like one of the one I want to have specifically is the convo about our history, the history of queerness and within religion and everything like that. And I also want to talk about like love addiction and love avoidance. We are going to have these conversations, both of you, for sure. But before, I wanted to speak to y'all before we get out of here about the healing part, right? Because you're saying that, your pastors aren't equipped to help you heal, but you do call yourself a healer and you're a pastor. Lovely lady right here is a sexologist and tantric practitioner now, right? And you both are equipped to heal. So, but I wanted to ask, like, in your both tantra, I feel like is more spiritual, and you have a more religious background with your healing. And I want to know that a lot of these spaces are can be damaging. But what is the healing part of, your practice within religion, or how you go about it?
Right. So I think it's important for people to understand the distinction between religion and spirituality.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That spirituality is all of our birthright, that we, if you choose to recognize some sense of spirituality, that's just what it is. And that religion is the structured practice of some sense of spirituality. Mm-hmm. And so while I operate in a religious structure and culture as a Christian, I understand that spirituality is much broader, much wider than that.
Got it.
And so I go to yoga. I have an acupuncturist. I've done Reiki. I've worked with tantric practitioners, because it's not my job to tell spirit how spirit can show up.
Yeah, that's dope. Yeah.
I remember the first time I was in acupuncture and I felt the presence of God come into the room. I said, now, it shook me. I said, wait, what the fuck just happened here?
That's the Holy Spirit right there.
God, in acupuncture?
Baby.
What? And it shifted, my acupuncturist has shifted my ideas about spirituality. He's brilliant and beautiful and passionate, right? And so my ideas about spirituality extend far beyond Christianity. Yeah. Because it's not my business to tell God how God can show up anywhere God decides to. Like I'm here. Like I don't got enough days on the job. I don't got enough degrees, historical. Like if we believe the shit we say we believe about God, that God has been here from the beginning and all of this, how is it that I've been here less than 100 years and I understand so much that I can speak definitively about God? And so, because I recognize that I'm not trapped in Christianity to deal with all of these things that people are bringing, right? And I understand how God or spirit can heal through breath work. That a whole lot of us just need some more oxygen. None of the of aftercare that I'm telling you, motherfuckers are not learning how to even care for yourself in everyday life the way that you can from the kink and fetish and play community.
Big time, yeah.
So many of us have not healed from physical injuries because you didn't get a good aftercare regimen. And the only how I recognized that was engaging some of these spaces. Yeah. As a pastor who not supposed to be around motherfuckers fucking. Because everybody ain't fucking, right? That's not happening on the planet. We supposed to act like sex.
No one's fucking, but people keep getting made.
Yeah. And so I've had to like let go of me trying to control God. Control how God shows up, control how God can be heard, control how God can be felt. That's not my business. That's God's business. I show up, I do the assignment God gave me, and so I try to use that. My introduction for a lot of people is Christianity. Yeah. And some people need that to be the entry point. Some people are not going to hear that it's okay for you to like to get your rocks off this particular way until they hear it from a pastor.
Right,
Something familiar.
We seek permission.
Yeah.
As humans, we seek permission. And I'm so, all you said is like, yes. I think, like you said, we're not breathing. Our nervous systems are so wound up. They're not regulated. We're not even aware of it. So a lot of times when there are opportunities to meet God and have these orgasmic experiences, we are not even trained in cry, breathe, connect, relax, because we haven't done it.
Yeah.
So there's so much to what you just said, but there has been a huge amount of the time, even in discovering the healer in me and realizing, like, literally being in a fucking slut and being like, why are you crying? Like, let me hold you.
Yes.
And literally, like, asking, like fucking psychics, was I a sexual healer in my other life? Like, no. I'm like, no, bitch, you're one in this life.
Right now, today.
Right. But I have experienced God in orgasmic places, and there is sexual energy present, and there is no sex. I have been to yoga and bent this way and laughed, and then bent this way and cried, and had to be just sit in my body and aware of that and okay with releasing whatever comes out. And a lot of times we are so contained, we are not okay with letting it, like, oh, this feels weird, let me just sit in it. What he just said kind of really moved something, like, let me just sit in that. Damn, I do have a lot of trauma with men, let me just sit in that. Let me just cry. If I'm in the back seat with 4 friends, if I start crying and they're like, what the fuck is wrong with this bitch? Then I can't be, I'm not in a safe space within myself or within my community. But if I can cry I cried at the beginning of the sex party because I was overwhelmed. I didn't even realize I was overwhelmed until somebody hugged me. And I had to just have a seat and just cry. And I found myself searching for a reason because I was very happy. But I just needed to regulate my nervous system. And a lot of times I've experienced just communions with people that they were sexually charged and super intimate, but there was no sex. But there's a level of relaxation that sexual energy brings. If I can relax into connection and then I can kind of let God come in. And so there have been times where I've just allowed myself.
Relaxing connection. Ooh, didn't want to let that one go by. That was really good.
If I can allow myself to relax in connection and not be like, oh my God, he's holding my hand, I don't know him. Oh my God, what does he think this means? Oh my God, my boyfriend's right here. What the fuck ever people think, because there's there's a lot of programming that has to be disarmed to just sit and be with God. And once you can release that and meet yourself there, which is, I realize a lot of us, we're not giving ourselves the permission to do it. So when I see somebody else in the bar moaning, you're like, what the fuck is that bitch doing? Or crying in the back seat, what the fuck is her problem? I'm not allowing you to be human. And God comes in all places and all spaces. And there are no rules around how God presents the divine, the divinity. But if we were too busy making it make sense, you're not going to experience that. And I think with Tantra, I realized the sexual healing part is like, I don't need to make it make sense. It just I need to be just allowing it to exist and to weave itself into my world. And I realize that the orgasmic sexual energy is necessary in healing because there's a level of connection and intimacy that you cultivate and arousal. And I've experienced energetic orgasms with people I didn't know very much because I allowed myself to relax into whatever was taking place. And I think as people, we put so many roles, especially women listening. There's so many roles about how we show up if we're being whores or sluts, and if this is okay or acceptable, or if there's shame. Am I going to be loved after this?
Yeah.
Is my man going to accept me and love me after I've had this experience that was life-changing for me and necessary and really felt so good? But how can I put into words that I had this experience with a stranger? Mm-hmm. You know, and it's like immediately it's like, you're a whore, you're a cheater. You know what I mean? And it's like, wait, like, let's just peel back all this shit, all this toxic pollution of our beliefs and be like, do I even believe this shit? Or did someone tell me this and now I've programmed it into who I am and how I show up? And so I just think, I forgot what the question was.
No, we were just talking about like, we were talking about how sex has been used in a damaging way, and now we're talking about like how y'all help other people heal by using pleasure and things like that, which you're doing amazing at explaining.
You can't separate it. Pleasure is pleasure. Yeah. Pleasure sexually, pleasure like just platonically, it is the same. And if I cut off how I experience sexual pleasure, I'm cutting off how I experience pleasure in all realms of my life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, food doesn't even taste the same.
If I can't moan while I'm drinking my green juice, If I can't look into your eyes and be like, oh my God, I'm so happy to see you.
It's interesting. It seems like it's getting out of your head and more into your heart.
It is. It's the
You know,
embodiment.
all the programming is here.
It's here. And it literally,
Just move
that
it down.
one of those times I experienced God in that spiritual, sexually charged space, I could hear myself saying, stop, let go. And how I knew it was God, it was like every time I would go here, I would just sit back in it. And I'd be like, stop thinking. And then I can go back. And that was the first time I could really start to weave and then like step in and out of it and see when it was going, like getting in my head.
To the thing you just said, and I feel like I need to say this. So many people abandon that voice that is closest to them, that has been here the longest. And so many times in your life, you have come back to the moment that if I had just listened to that voice, XYZ would have happened differently. And a mentor of mine used to say the closest, the most common name for God is something told me.
Your intuition.
And we ignore it so much. And I know a lot of super spiritual folk would be like, well, you can't be trusting just because how you feel.
No, you can't.
And not trusting how you feel. How is that?
That helped you.
How does that help you?
Look at where you're at.
Yeah.
Exactly. Look at what you're at.
This
You
looks
find your people that way. You allow God to do its thing when you allow things to happen. And I also think that as women and just as men too, we have to be really clear about if it is our voice or the voice of someone else that told us. And I think that has been the unweaving that I have to do. Do I feel guilty or do I feel guilty because I'm supposed to feel guilty?
Exactly.
Right.
Do I want to suck 2 dicks? Maybe. You know, but like, is it because someone told me that?
That's literally a chapter of my book.
If I do
Who told
this,
you?
who told you? Is this my inner voice or is this the programming? So,
This
yes.
is dope. This has been dope.
I'm gonna let you know right now. This is why I want to do this podcast. Talking about conversations and shit like this. Exactly why I'm happy that you came to me with this idea. In the essence of time, we do have to wrap up, but we're going to have many more conversations. We're gonna figure out. We're gonna have many more conversations.
Can we be friends now? Can I have your number?
Yes.
This is
First of all,
some workshops too.
listen,
Corey's the guy.
Orlando is like one of my favorite people.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to say, like, openly, that the ability to hold your hand, the ability to share space the way that we have, is because y'all have cultivated such great community that in some way that he trusts me signals to you all, it's okay.
Yeah.
Right? And so I appreciate that a great deal. I appreciate that
Much
a great deal. I was talking to Jordan about Orlando invited me to the play party. And I was like, Orlando knows I don't like being around the breeders.
The breeders?
Yes.
What do you mean the breeders?
Yo,
The
pussy.
the straight.
I was like, who's the breeder?
The straights.
He knows I don't.
That's funny.
And as Jordan and I talked, I said, but Orlando wouldn't invite me into a space that's like going to be unsafe for me. And he knows who I am. So he wouldn't put other people in danger of my mouth and my responses in those spaces. And so it just speaks to, again, like what you've cultivated over the years and the people that you're in community with.
Yeah.
Because everybody don't have that. You know, and I really hate this no new friends bullshit.
You need
Like,
new friends.
Don't listen to Drake. Look at Drake's life. It's not.
It's not your life.
And his relationships, like that no new friend shit, is not working for him. Like, open up. Like me. So we gonna exchange. No, do all that.
Gotcha. Let's do an outro. Where can the people find y'all and what y'all represent? You know, Christianity and not just play. Go ahead.
Nah, I don't have a problem with that. A lot of people just y'all deal with y'all issues with God. Me and God are cool. You can find me on all social media platforms the same way. Cory L. Scott, CoryLScott. On all social media platforms or CoryLScott.com.
You can find me at Mila _Mapp. I have a book out called A Good Mom's Guide to Making Bad Choices that touches on pleasure. And, just hit me up if you need a tantric practitioner or you just want to
talk. Please.
Brooklyn Lu, a.k.a. Well Known Tone. You can find me at susianyc.com. And hit me up if you want to have a breakthrough.
I am WH_Orlando Roye. If I don't mention the Lives to Lifestyle social, is probably going to be in the bio. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. It'll be ready. But yeah, I am the big bad bitch. This is my amazing co-host, and this is Lives to Lifestyle, conversation about the lifestyle from the lifestyle.
Awesome. Feeling that.
La like this.